A woman needs a love just like you do. Hey, don't kid yourself into thinking that she don't. She can fool around just like you do. Hey, unless you give her all the loving she wants. When her eyes are begging for affection, ooh, don't put her off. Don't make her wait. Don't try to give her that worn out excuse. Ooh, about being tired and working late. I tell you, one day you'll come home early from work. Open up the door, and get your feelings hurt. A woman needs love just like you do. Don't kid yourself into thinking that she don't, 'cause she can't fool around. Yeah, she will fool around. So, with you or without you, just like you do. Just like you do. Good morning, fellow billionaires. This is Silver 5150 with your enhanced morning update for July 27th, Monday, 2020. All right, guys, you see it here. I told you about it this weekend. It is a 2020 South Korea 1 ounce silver Sin Ratis Guardian coin. All right, there she is. Absolutely gorgeous. Yes. That was little Ray Parker Jr. for you. Well, mostly for the ladies today. Of course, Mr. Parker is most famous for his hit theme song from the movie of the same name, Ghostbusters, back in 1984. Speaking of ladies, you stackers, you certainly know what these are, all right? These are Guardians, of course, from South Korea. Chibu's Guardians, okay? I'm trying to keep the shadow off of there, okay? And yeah, these things are the bomb. They're the bomb. Now, I do like all the Guardians from the South Korean Mint, from Comsco, and they flow pretty good. You know, the the Gallius and the Canis and stuff. But I got to tell you, these here, they flow like water. I mean, let's see if we can get a better look at this. Better not touch it. So we get a better look at this. So you see here, everything about it. The contour lines, the expression on her face, the blade in her hand, right? That time warp and ball thingy. What is that? What is that? I have no idea. But anyway, everything in this coin, even her body language when she's sitting there on top of the lattice or the roof or whatever she's sitting on top of, all right? Everything about it just says smooth operator, don't mess with, okay? Just make sure, if she's your girl, you pour on the TLC like Ray Parker says, and you shouldn't have anything to worry about. You guys remember that movie, My Super Ex-Girlfriend, right? Yeah, kind of like that. All right, let's just go ahead and take our medicine. So, markets today. Guys, I made a call. I made a loose prediction on Friday, I think it was, that I expected the markets to pull back sharply this morning, talking about the metals markets, to pull back sharply this morning, and then, as a result, to correct themselves later in the morning. That did not happen. In fact, last night, the metals markets went bonkers. And I guess gold broke this all-time high and silver, trailed behind. But with the ridiculous, percentage of 6% in gains, moving up eventually to 24. I think we're at right now $24 an ounce. And, my apologies for thinking that I could call the markets. Now, I do find it peculiar that right now, let's go ahead and move that around a little bit. I do find it peculiar that right now, you find gold has stopped at around $40 up. So it's not breaking that line. So that's like a new trend line that's never existed before, but there it is all of a sudden. And I wonder if that's something that's been created through money printing, or is it something they're using as a platform to create a downturn? I really can't make a prediction at this point because this new gold price is something I've never seen. All right. And silver's performance I've only seen on the way down, moving like this. And we both seen that there in March. So I don't know. It's going to be kind of tough to call. I do apologize for not calling it a little better. But, look, I will stand by what I said also, and that is that we're just around 5% into this move, this longer bull market, maybe over the next 2 years. So if that's something that interests you still, we just got to find more creative ways to stack. There is. Now, there's got to be a pullback at some point here. I can't imagine that we could thunder ahead at this pace and not have there be some kind of pullback, because that's not really a healthy market. It doesn't matter if it's metals or equities or what have you. So we're going to continue to watch and see what happens. We're going to continue to, monitor and see if we can catch some dips and stuff like that. But I tell you what, fair is fair. Since I was so far off of my call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and accelerate my giveaway program. And I'm going to have a giveaway. It was going to be around 1,800, but we're going to go ahead and do 1,750. And I think right now we're at 1,660 subscribers. So another 90 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway. And it's going to be a nice one. It's going to be John Wick. Yeah, I'm going to give away a John Wick, 1 ounce John Wick coin. It's going to be the Guild coin that has a little dude on the back. It's going to be an Assassin's coin for a mark. Meaning if you get a silver coin, that's called a mark. If you have a gold coin, that is basically currency you use at the Continental Hotel and the Guild in that movie if you follow John Wick. So 1 ounce silver John Wick going out as a giveaway, a GAW for our 1,750 subscriber GAW. So keep that in mind. Just my little contribution for being so far off on the call. I'll probably make some more later and do some more giveaways later, because apparently I'm wronger more often than I am right. All right, so markets right now, we've got gold up around, it looks like 1924, 1925. It's up $40 right now. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry, 1934, 1935. Well above its all-time high of 1920, 1921. And it's just kind of sitting there and hovering there. Then gold, of course, is just over $24 an ounce at about 24.16, 24.20. And it looks like it's trying to put on more gains for today. If you've been stacking for a long time, Excelsior, congratulations to you guys. If you have not been stacking a long time and you're trying to stack, well, we're going to tackle that today and all this week, talking about the dark side. Yes, Luke, I want you to join me. Feel the power of credit. Yes, guys, I'm going to do it. We'll go ahead and eyeball these throughout the show. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, I did purchase more of these. I purchased 52 more of these, MOAR. For my 52nd birthday, I kind of revealed that on a weekend. I would really like to pretend that I'm so cool that I planned to order 52 more because I turned 52. But to be honest, I just wanted 2 more rolls at 25 rounds per roll for a total of 50 of them. But it turned out that I needed 2 more to fulfill my tax trigger at Atmex. So yeah, if you don't order with $1,500 in the same medium, it has to be either all gold or all silver. You can't have any kind of supplies in there. It just has to be the metal. And you order $1,500 worth, it's free shipping and free tax where I'm at. So 52 of these put me at I think about $1,517 and change. And so there was no shipping, no tax, and so that's how I did it. Otherwise, if I had done 50, I would have paid $1,461 and had $111 tax. It's like, why would you do that? Just spend the extra $40 and save yourself $60 and get two more rounds. All right. So today we're going to cover this very volatile subject, very polarizing subject, considered the third rail in stacking economics, and that is credit. And for those of you who don't know what that axiom means or where it comes from, the third rail, it hails from politics actually, and its meaning is something that you should really try to avoid, the third rail, because it's so touchy that it could literally derail or harpoon your political career. And in the case of politics, it's Social Security. Politicians try madly to avoid talking about Social Security during political debates, okay? Especially on the national stage. They try desperately to avoid it, or at least hand it back over to their opponent and have them go down in flames talking about it instead. So the third rail, all right? We're going to take that visual and we're going to understand that the third rail in stacking is credit. Should you use it? Should you abuse it? Should you fear it? Or is it just a financial tool like everything else? Now today I think we're going to dive right in as to whether or not it's just a normal financial tool or not, and work our way through the week. We'll just do that. All right? And I can tell you right now, there's a lot of stacking channels out there that will not even dare touch this. They will not stick their neck out about like I'm about to. All right? The easy, quick, diplomatic answer for credit is don't do it unless there's an extreme emergency. and I'm probably going to lose. I'm probably going to lose about 100 subscribers just talking about it. I'm taking a huge non-paid career risk here talking about it, but I'm going to do it. All right, but hopefully we'll have everybody still by the end of this podcast. Now, yes, the market action is exciting. All right, but I can tell you, depending on what side you're on, it's either exciting or frustrating, and you might agree with me. Now, as someone like myself, as someone who has stared into the abyss of multiple lines of credit, I've had multiple lines of credit, and I've been managing those credit lines on regular trades and labor jobs. Now, granted, I do have more than one job, right? But I mean, I just constantly work my tail off to make sure I can hold things up. All right. But as someone who's been managing these multiple lines of credit, I feel I can speak from a position of authority in gaining it, holding it, and managing it, given my experience. So just bear with me. So now, real quick, what is credit? Okay, credit is a medium of exchange where you're creating a more flexible timeline to pay for something rather than extinguishing that timeline by settling in debit. And debit's otherwise known as cash, cash in a barrelhead, which means that you're paying for it right now, you're taking ownership for it right now, okay, free and clear, as opposed to the deferment nature of cash's credit cousin, okay? So credit equals deferment, okay, and debit equals cash. Now, we got a lot of debit stackers out there, and those guys are in really good shape. They're in much better shape than I am. Even though I may have more ounces, they're in better shape than I am. Now, ever since the first openly accepted credit cards became available in the 1950s, okay, and I believe that Diners Club and American Express were the most famous in the beginning, okay, having a line of credit was not only marketed as a huge advantage back then, but it's a sexier, faster lifestyle. Now, for years, it seemed like that, threatening, it was threatening on a whole. A lot of people didn't think much of it because most people were savers. It did seem threatening, but, as savers, people like, I don't see the point. I'm not going to do it. But if you thought in terms of business, where, schedules could get so hectic and even geographically challenging, the idea of readily accepted form of payment was too good to pass up. Business representatives, they could smooch their clientele around the globe, okay, on whirlwind tours that were sure to impress, their clients and get the business deal without messy entanglements of cumbersome currency exchanges or traveler's checks. And man, right now, I know some of you younger stackers out there are going, oh, traveler's checks, what the heck is Silver 5150 talking about? Yes, traveler's checks, not really worth going into, but suffice it to say, I'm cracking up and just flashing back at the same time, but suffice it to say that the international predecessor to credit cards, and yes, they were usually American Express, were traveler's checks. And you'd have to buy these traveler's checks with cash, and then whenever you went somewhere to spend them out of the country or around the country or something like that, you had to sign them and then go ahead and issue them like cash. It's kind of weird. Excuse me. So anyway, so fast forward to the modern era today, where there's literally a blizzard of credit cards of all kinds, from department stores to gas stations, right? Airlines have their own credit card. Everybody, almost everybody's got skin in the game when it comes to credit right now. And for many years, the system worked as it should, with lines of credit being used as tools only to loosen timelines and compartmentalize spending activity into monthly segments, month to month, right? It wasn't until people realized that credit could serve to create that sexier lifestyle image for anybody as long as the music played on. And what I mean by that, the music playing on, is if the Titanic is sinking but the band's still playing, is the ship really sinking? But it was, and it sank hard. People's irresponsibility and credit. So back in 2011, after the housing boom had gone bust, a term was coined for these ultra-flexible mortgage companies that have made it so easy for people to borrow cash to finance a home. All right, even multiple homes in some cases on a regular salary, like a salary like mine, cleaning floors and driving shuttles and stuff. People were able to leverage multiple homes, all right, and they got in a lot of trouble. So the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, called these organizations predatory lenders. You guys remember that coin back in 2011, 2012, predatory lenders, and proceeded to regulate the heck out of them. They did. They regulated the heck out of them. All right, but I'm sorry. Look here. We're grown folks here. There are two sides to every equation. And I always like the term predatory spenders as well, okay, as a counter to predatory lenders. Now, you see, you can't just have one. There's two parties involved. And I know that some of you argue, but borrowers didn't know any better, and they didn't know what they were getting into. Yeah, okay. Sure, there were some that were easily taken advantage of. I won't disregard that. But for the most part, people understood that there was an opportunity to be had trying to make fast money with a bunch of no questions asked leverage flying around. and he took advantage of it. And if you don't know what leverage is just credit, and it's another word for credit, basically leverage. So predatory spenders were, for the most part, just as complicit in their spending as their lending counterparts were in lending. All right. So anyway, today we're back to higher levels of accountability. Credit score evaluations and acceptable credit histories are again required to access, all right, certain types of leverage or credit. In the case of me, Silver 5150, for years I lived a mostly debit lifestyle, leveraging only the most big ticket items like a home or a car with the commensurate leasing systems, okay, whether it was a mortgage, what have you, and even paying those things off early in most cases. And this went a long way towards building my credit score. And at one point, I'd gotten that sucker up to about 871 points. 871 point credit score. Think about that. I was so proud. And I had every merchandising establishment salivating and cowering in fear at the same time, realizing what a risk-free customer I could be, while at the same time knowing that there was virtually nothing that they could deny me in a contractual agreement. They couldn't. But not with a credit score. They'd be fools to do it. Okay, so anyway, enter the dragon. Enter the silver dragon. Enter the silver dragon. This is a still completely misunderstood asset class, silver is. And with the historical and future potential to change the course of monetary history. That's what silver has. Silver has the ability to do that. Once people start to gain interest and once we find out how little there is, you wait till people find out that there's probably less silver than there is rhodium and platinum combined, or maybe even less than one or the other, all right? But as a silver investor keen on stealing that value, my read on a potential economic energy trapped in this long-forgotten monetary asset sent me into fits at night and had me writhing in bed. I was going, how can no one else see this? How can no one else see all the runaway inflation we had? Okay? How can no one visualize the insatiable appetite that silver has for inflation? We have all this inflation that's just sitting there waiting to chomp on it, but it can't get a feed on it because they keep manipulating it. All right? I was thinking to myself, somebody's got to tell the people, this is the most abundant anything I'd ever seen. It's sitting right there, hanging curveball. And there's enough for everybody, more than enough, when you think about the actual price of silver. 10 ounces to your name. Think about that. 10 ounces for every man, woman, and child interested in investing. That's enough for everybody. Everybody's not going to have some. But many discovered, that, when I tried to tell people about it, I found that I was met with laughter, eye rolls, and dismissal. People just kind of looked at me and went, whatever. Nobody cared. Even those closest to me tried to accuse me of trying to ruin them. Okay, fine. Enough of that then. I just threw my hands up. And after years and years of missed opportunities and missed market opportunities, I decided that I alone will go after the silver dragon. Weakened almost beyond recognition. Nobody knew what silver was. I mean, there was a handful of activists out there that were trying to pound the table. And of course, the longtime guys I was telling you about, Hugo Salinas Price and, Ron Paul. And of course, what's his name? Ted Butler. Yeah, Ted Butler, big time silver guy. Long time ago. So these guys were out there doing that, right? But yeah, I decided that even though silver was weakened beyond recognition, this silver dragon, it was rippling with muscles underneath the skin. You could see it. It just wanted to break free and just really, really run the roost. And so for some time after that, I went after this forgotten asset, silver, okay, with debit only. And I paid as I went, just like a lot of the great stackers out there. I paid as I went, following the rules, okay, acquiring what I could. But as I continued learning while I was accumulating, I began to realize that silver wasn't really like my enemy or a dragon that was waiting to snap me up. It was actually my ally. Silver is actually my ally, and by purchasing it, I was strengthening it, preparing it for the battle of its life, its economic life, the existence, free from manipulation, where it can naturally assert itself as money for the people. That's what silver really wanted to do. And it wasn't my enemy. I just needed to help free it by buying it up. All right. And I thought I could actually make a difference myself, and I found out later I couldn't. Okay. Anyway, I was completely resolved at that point. And at that point, I shed my life of any of the shackles of conventional thought, and I began to delve into the dark waters of leverage, and then extreme leverage. All right. And I've described these levels I've gone to in depth in my earlier videos. If you haven't watched my earlier videos about scary stories, about credit and stuff like that, they're all there. If you want to watch and find out what I did to acquire metal from the dark side. All right. Anyway, but that still wasn't enough. As fate would have it, I'd have to go back to my haters because I couldn't do it by myself, and those receptive to the notion, and professed that not only was physical silver a no-brainer, but required no brains. Thanks, Silver Game of Thrones. I just stole that from you. Silver requires no brains. Okay, that requires no brains. It doesn't. It's just buy it and hold it. That's it. Very, very easy. Very, very risk-free investment. I mean, you do feel some pain if you buy too early, or if you see it go down a little bit. But trust me, it's on the way up. Okay. Anyway, so at the time though, it was very little risk to capture this last chance escapecraft to avoid the financial meteor that was heading to us and was going to take us out. The financial meteor being all the derivatives, all the garbage we're talking about. You see it on the debt clock, all the inflation. It's on its way. So silver is this last chance escapecraft to avoid, final impact of the meteor that's headed our way. So I decided I was going to spread the word again. I was going to be more, more diligent about it. I was going to be more, resourceful about it. But who was I? Who am I? I'm a trades and labor guy, the son of a janitor that drives a shuttle. If I was going to convince people that I knew what I was talking about, that I knew they needed to invest in silver, I was going to need some serious street cred. But how would I do that? I mean, I definitely wanted more metal. But those training wheels that I put on myself, the debit training wheels. So I put together a strategy in my head. And I thought to myself, it'll never happen. But if the spot price of silver drops into the 14s, I'm going to go for broke. And it did. And I did. Multiple times. Silver dropped into the 14s multiple times. And every time I found a more creative way to leverage to buy more. Now, it was quite scary at first. But I soon realized that the $25,000 worth of credit on my card was easy to manage. Now, real quick, an aside is that you don't get that kind of credit level unless you show that you're using it. And so by using it, I kept getting calls saying, hey, you want to increase this? And I was like doing the math in my head, and I went, okay. So I got to that point. And so once I realized I could leverage, manage a credit card, I was like, okay, I could be more ambitious. Now, the reason why they would raise this credit limit is because even though the regulators had got really tough on credit card companies, they had given them the leeway to be very accommodating to their borrowers, okay? Extending lower interest rates and higher credit limits if you had good standing, okay? Upon further examination, I learned that the global currency system was also failing simultaneously, and that had made global credit in the system very vulnerable, meaning the companies were very vulnerable and kind of desperate, which led me to realize they'd become desperate enough to want to gain and retain customers, and they would do what they have to do that. Once I realized that the credit system was weakened and they needed us and we didn't need them, I was like, okay. And, I thought, I would never test the limits of their desperation, meaning, not paying my bills or something like that. I would never do that. I always pay my bills, right? No matter what. But I did dabble in multiple lines of credit, and I still do so today. I've got a couple of, I guess you would call them signature loans, but they're debt consolidation loans. I've got my credit card is, getting pretty high again. You guys see me doing some purchasing and stuff. I've been doing all that stuff. But I did the calculations in my head as I was going along as to what I can afford. And then I pushed that amount to the absolute limit, buying every gram of silver I could in the process, all right, at the expense of anything else frivolous in my life. I even overspent on my Citi card one time, guys. And oh my gosh, they just smacked the snot out of me. I overspent and I incurred a huge penalty. Huge penalty. It was like $500 extra that went to nothing but, penalties in a month. Anyway, I paid the penalty, no questions asked. Okay, I learned my lesson, and then I continued to stack. So I found my limits, then I start setting up auto payments to make sure I didn't miss any payments. And then I proceeded to work my tail off while front loading as much silver as I could on leverage, and I never looked back. I'm not a doctor or a lawyer. I never even graduated from high school, but I can tell you, my gambit has paid off in a way that will far outstrip many successful people in the new silver age. So would I do anything different? I would not do anything different. My risk tolerance is, on the moon Titan up there in Jupiter somewhere. It's way up there. I have a very high risk tolerance, all right? Even if I started stacking for the first time tomorrow, by the way, I would approach it the exact same way because I understand that the silver dragon that we're going to get the heck out of here on has not even opened his wings and attempted to fly yet. Now, despite that danger, I would still climb onto his back, all right? It's a dragon. Silver will take you for a ride, either a good one or a bad one. But I would feed it my fiat currency to get it off the ground, as I always have, even at $23, $24 an ounce. I'm dead serious, because I know it will eventually fly me to the moon. Am I recommending that you buy silver on credit? Heck no. Absolutely not. By no means. I'm just telling you what I've done and what I'm doing. Everybody can't do what I'm doing, okay? But I've been doing it recklessly for like the last 4 years. Guys, I don't keep track of receipts or anything. In fact, I shred my receipts probably every couple of weeks. I don't have anything on record. If somebody comes after me and tries to do an audit, it's going to be hell on earth because I don't have any records of anything. I intentionally play this thing sloppily to see how much I can stress my own financial system. And I can tell you right now, nobody would dare do the things I've done to try to acquire silver the way I have and not drink Malox like they did water. Not a lot of people can do that. But I know that's how powerful an investment asset the silver is. All right. So I'm just telling you what I've been doing recklessly for the last 4 years. And so far it's worked. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I've paid some penalties, but I'm still okay. Right. Now, I did make sure before I did all that I understood enough about the credit system to know that it is the weakened one, not silver. Credit is the weakened monetary asset that is about to die. It's on its way out. I don't know when. I can't make a prediction. You know my predictions are no good, obviously. All right. But credit is really not to be feared at this point. The banking system is so weak, the derivative system is so weak, the fractional reserve system is so weak. Credit card companies are desperate. They won't tell you that. They'll just lower your credit, your interest rate and stuff and do things and start to be more friendly on the phone, very accommodative, right? Because they know that they're not going to be able to hang in there much longer. The monetary system is too overloaded. It's going to collapse from its own weight. All right. But the credit system is not to be feared right now, but to be used up to usher in the new monetary asset, the most sound of all monies. That's bullion grade silver, money for the people. All right? Think about what I said. Don't get into credit if you're not comfortable with it. Don't even bother. We're going to talk more about credit this week. The credit I talked about to you today, that I talked about with you today, is the most extreme or volatile credit, where you start talking about your debt consolidation loans or your credit card, spending, this sort of thing. We're going to talk about easier credit because the credit system is weak and gives you easier access to credit, depending on what your financial standing is. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow. All right. We're going to get to easier and easier credit as we go throughout the week. All right. So this is the harshest part. I let it out, what I'm doing and how it's working for me. I'm not recommending anything to anyone. And I know I'm going to get a lot of blowback from this, but I think we need to talk about it because these prices of silver, I don't think are going to come down too much. We'll get pullbacks, but it's not going to be anything, like the 14s or 15s. Those ads are gone. And even if we do get those, it's going to be like $14, $15 premium. So we'll still be at $30. I'll pronounce the silver. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me this morning. I hope you're still subscribed. I hope you stay subscribed. Remember, we got giveaways coming up. So just a little sop there. But I'm Silver5150 telling you that your stack is not whack and that just 10 ounces to your name, even today, keeps you 99% ahead of the game. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and know that if you have the risk tolerance and can calculate properly, you too can greatly increase your stack using leverage if you choose to do so. Your choice only. I'm not recommending anything. All right? But you have to have a plan to pay off any of the fixed debt you acquire. Okay? You have reevaluated silver later on that you can sell once you reach this price target to pay that debt off. It's a matter of how much you want to front load. Now, mine is $200 spot, okay, and up. Once silver gets $200 spot and up, I'm going to start wiping out all my debt. My car, my loans, everything, all right? That's my plan. We're going to continue this tomorrow, all right? But I really look forward to your comments today, all right? Talk to you guys later.